Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And today once more we're going to be talking about the couple Misha and Nico. And guys, this week Nico's on the back foot. He's desperately trying to work out what's wrong with Misha and how he can fix it. He's, how can we say, somewhat off base. And also in this video I'm going to look at some of your, well, I want to say draggings, but comments in the comments section. Yes, that's right, it's 90 Day Fiance, Before the 90 Days Season 6, Episode 10. Before we begin, please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Hit it, press it, smash it, caress it, subscribe my friends, subscribe. And also if you enjoy the video, please smash the like button. It does wonders for my analytics. Thanks guys. Right, so without further ado, I give you Misha and Nico. And so we catch up with Misha in the kitchen and she's making coffee and she's mulling over last night's massive argument.
Last night, Nicola and I had the biggest fight that we've ever had. We're not communicating the same way that we have been on the phone for many, many years. And it seems like Nicola doesn't really care about my feelings. And I have no idea what to do.
Wait, what? It's the biggest fight you've ever had? Well, that's no surprise, you've only been there a week. And Misha's sad that Nico doesn't really seem to care about her feelings. Misha decides to leave the hotel room and she said it's full of bad emotions. And I find that quite interesting because as far as I've seen so far, Nico's pretty emotionless, but hey ho. And so Misha says at the moment she can't see how this relationship will work. And she's looking for any tiny little crack in the door that this relationship can be salvaged. And Misha sits outside of the hotel room. And guys, guess who's looking for her?
Misha, you say you want to go drink coffee, but why you don't come back?
Yeah.
Are you sad or what?
Yes, Nico, yes, she's very sad. She's sad because she's finally realising the fairy tale that she'd built up is highly unlikely to have a Hollywood ending. So guys, just before we recap on the conversation that they've had, I'd just like to interject. Misha, there's a very good reason why it's going to be extremely difficult to make this relationship work. And I don't want to put it all on Nico because I'm quite sure that Misha has many shortcomings as well. But Nico's a 46-year-old virgin. He has no experience at all with women. The last time he kissed somebody was when he was 30. That's 16 years ago. All of this you knew before you came to Israel. Also, Nico's not currently gainfully employed. He runs a Catholic website from his bedroom. And finally, Nico lives with his mother at home. And I've got to say, I don't know possibly how you thought it could work without a gargantuan amount of compromise on both sides. Now last week, my subscribers, well, they ran me for filth. It was quite unbelievable. I suggested that they've both got to do an awful lot of compromising. Now thus far Nico has compromised a little bit, but from what I'm seeing so far, I don't see much compromise on Misha's part. Now the compromising that I think she has to do is to be understanding of the fact that Nico cannot get rid of all his shortcomings in just 1 week. Honestly guys, I know you disagree, but I think she needs to be patient with him. And I think she also needs to be really explicit when she's upset and spell out exactly what's upsetting her. Honestly, I know he nods his head, but I don't think he gets it. We get it because, well, I guess that's how we've been socialised. But Nico doesn't get it, and I can't really expect him to. So Michelle W512 said, I'm surprised how much I disagree on this one. It's not unreasonable for Misha to believe a grown man in his 40s would have basic emotional intelligence, social and communication skills. I also disagree about the kitten entirely. That was just Nicola trying to assert his control. His friend didn't mind about the kitten and he even stroked it himself. Now the kitten, fair point. I have my own beautiful cat myself, and in the pecking order I've got to admit she does come just slightly above Mr. Ebird. But as for the first sentence, it's not unreasonable for Misha to believe a grown man in his 40s would have basic emotional intelligence. And guys, there's an awful lot of people that agreed with Michelle W and echoed this sentiment. But guys, I pretty much believe from the outset that somebody who's still a virgin at 46 and has never had a full and proper relationship and who still lives at home would more than likely lack this basic emotional intelligence. Where would he pick these skills up? If not from relationships in the wider world. And I'm not talking about relationships with your siblings or your mum. I'm talking about a romantic partner or the kind of relationships you develop at work. He hasn't had these things, so it was always going to be really difficult. I really don't know what she was expecting. It has to be said, my expectations for Nico couldn't have been lower, and well done, Nico, you stooped right down, and you've met my expectations. And we have another comment here from Vintage Victoria, and she says, I 5,000% wouldn't have put the cat down. When a cat's gracing me with its presence, all bets are off. And I do concur with that. When my little Willow's on my knee, I'm virtually a prisoner until she decides to move. But then Paula Parham6591 says you don't have to have been in a relationship to know how to console someone. A small child knows how to hold or check his parents when they see them crying or upset. And the truth be told, I do agree with this. It was weird that he didn't try to console her when he saw her crying and upset. And he almost characterised her crying before as, I don't know, histrionics or a bit too over-emotional. But yes, overall, a great many of you agreed with Michelle W. and thought that I was very harsh on Misha and thought that I was giving kind of a free pass to Nico for not having developed his emotional skills. And I did have a think about all these comments, and I put this to you. If we're expecting somebody to be somewhat of a rounded person, we have to think about where would they pick up those skills. And we also have to think about what type of person just stays at home all day, doesn't work, doesn't really look like they're looking for a position or looking for anything. That's just the kind of person that I would say more than likely isn't emotionally well-rounded. Otherwise you'd want to, I don't know, take life by the horns. You'd want to start a family. You'd want to get married. You'd want to have a career. I'm not saying all of these things are prerequisites for a quote-unquote normal life, but you would imagine that most people want one of these things. If not, there's usually something missing. I don't know. Anyway, back to the matter in hand. Misha said, I'm not necessarily sad, but we went to bed in a bad space last night and I'm really struggling with what to do. And then Nico said, well, what do you want me to do? And guys, this is part of the problem. He should really know what to do if he were a rounded person. And Misha catches this because she said, Nico, do you actually know what the problem is? And guys, Nico proved 100% that he does not when he said the following.
I think I know, Misha.
Okay, what?
You don't like certain way how I behave. And I really want to work on it, Misha, because I love you. Because I love you. And I want this relationship to work out for us.
Oh Lord, this intimates to me he doesn't really know. He said certain ways in which I behave. Obviously it's something to do with your behaviour. Specifically what, Nico? Specifically what? Now I think I know what. I think there are 3 major things that irritate her thus far. The first thing is he doesn't really listen to her or hear her when she speaks. And she tells us she often has to repeat herself. And when she says, Nico, did you hear me? He says, what was that again? The second thing is he doesn't consider her feelings. And this was best evidenced when she said she wanted to meet his mum and his brothers. And he tried to kind of wiggle out of it and poo-poo it and say, what's the big deal? And even after he'd actually agreed that they should meet, he said to Wasim, his friend, oh, she's going on and on about meeting my family, as if it was still really weird. It's like he'd agreed to do it, but he hadn't still really clicked why that was necessary. And the second bit of evidence that he doesn't really care about her feelings was again with Wasim, when he was saying she's so messy, she's over-emotional, she nags on and on to meet my mum. And he didn't say any positive things about her or the relationship. In fact, thus far, the only really positive thing that I've heard him say about her is the fact that she loves God so much and that she's beautiful. She wants Nico to love her, not just what she represents or not just something which millions of people are, i.e. a Catholic. But then I think the final thing is something which is a bit more insidious and something which I don't think she's going to be able to change, and nor is he. And that's the fact that it would seem his ideology tells him that the word of a man is far more important than the word of a woman. And so he basically prioritises any thoughts that he has over any thoughts that Misha may have. And so guess what, guys? Lucky us. We're treated to what Nico thinks the problem really is via production.
I realized that some of the problem that me and Misha are experiencing, it's me and also the culture. I'm a little bit shy. The Middle East is like the relationship between men and women are more intimate. It's not in the public. And I think that's what maybe Misha wants, you know, the affection. So I think I need to start changing for Misha.
Well, that's one of the things, but that's by no means the main thing. It's really not it. So once again, Nico proves that he hasn't been listening to Misha. Oh dear, poor Misha, you're flogging a dead horse at this point. Misha, it's not just flogging a dead horse. The horse has already been tinned and made into dog food, and it hits supermarket shelves next week. And so then Misha tells Nicola that she's happy that he has a more conciliatory tone today than he did last night. And so that's a start. Oh, Misha, it's really not a start. In other words, the only way to get Nicola to listen, and in fact, why am I saying listen, to understand that you're unhappy, is for you to have a sulk and not speak to him and to go and sit outside. He doesn't just naturally act because you've told him there's a problem. That in itself is a problem. Guys, these problems are multiplying exponentially. So finally, Misha outlines her main problems.
My fear is that you don't care about how I feel. You're not, I don't even know if you're ever like listening. And the only reason I'm tolerating this is because I do know that Nicola that I've been talking to for almost 7 years. That's the person I'm wondering, is that who it is? Or is it this Nicola here that doesn't really care?
Oh, come on now, Misha. Are you seriously asking if you should believe what you heard on telephone calls halfway across the world? Or should you believe what you're experiencing now? In glorious 3D Technicolor, I would give you a multiple choice, but it's too bloody ridiculous for words. He has no capacity for ignoring you whilst you're on the phone, because all there is sound. It's much more likely to happen in real life. Believe what you see, believe what you're experiencing here and now, because that is who Nico is. The only question you need to ask yourself is it possible for him to change? And so then Nico says, I think I need to be more gentle with you and more sweet, like you like. What? When did she say she wants you to be more gentle and more sweet? Listen and repeat after me. She wants you to listen to her. She wants you not to dismiss her feelings. And she would like you to be positive about her and her personality. Not like you were when you met up with Wasim and his wife. That's pretty much what she wants. And so because he doesn't really know what to say, Nico decides to butter Misha up in the best way he knows how.
Your laugh. I love your laugh. Look how you laugh. I mean, I love this laugh. It's so cute. You're very friendly with people. You have a good heart. I don't see many women like you. Beautiful. You're a beautiful woman, Misha.
And then he finished up by saying, and you love God. Nobody loves God like you and I do. Misha looked, well, not entirely convinced. And he said, Misha, we just need more time. I think that's correct. They do need more time, but I don't know if it's going to come to anything. And Misha finished up by saying, I'm glad you've treated me with more tenderness. And I'm still thinking about the Nico I've been talking to for 7 years. And not this Nico. Well then, Misha, stop. Because this Nico is actually who Nico really is. And then she said, neither of us will know what's going to happen in the end. I know. He's not going to change and you're going to do the off-ski. But anyway. And then Nico said, God will give us his grace. And Misha said, yes, God will do what's best. Guys, I've got a feeling that God's going to be on quite a different page to Nico. I think God's going to steer Misha right back to America. Sans Nico. And finally, Misha said to production, hearing Nico say all the things he loves about her doesn't solve the problem, but it brings them to the point where they can try to continue building. She said, I only have 1 week left and I need to see how much he can change in this 1 week. And that's where we end things for this week. Guys, Misha, whoever needs to hear, Nico's not going to change in 1 week. He just isn't. I don't think it's possible for somebody to change their personality and their ingrained and deeply held beliefs in 1 week. It's taken him a week to realise that Misha's manifestly unhappy and this marriage might not even happen. So if it's taken a week of her moaning and continually telling him, I'm unhappy, for him to realise, oh God, she's unhappy, this is serious. How long do you think it's going to take for him to actually put into action all the many, many changes that are needed? And lest we forget, there'll be far more changes to come when and if he moves to America. She's going to need him to potentially, I don't know, stop being sexist, get a job, contribute positively to her household. So there's more and more and more changing to do. Changing countries is a change enough. Looking at a new culture, a new ways of living and different types of people. I don't know, but I think this is all a leap too far. And I've begun to think about his compromises when he went to the bar with her and so on. And I'm starting to think, did he really compromise or did he just get into the bar and realise that he was having fun and a good time and he loved it? He's there bumping and grinding on one of the fittest girls in the bar and he just loved it. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it wasn't, I'll change for Misha. Maybe it was, wow, I didn't know what a good time this was. I don't know. Guys, what do you think? Do you think he can change adequately? Or do you think Misha's being a secret crack smoker and she's expecting far too much in far too short a time? She wants to undo an old school, God-fearing, patriarchal, traditional man and turn him into a caring and considerate metrosexual. Oh dear. Guys, I've tried and failed to do it with guys from the UK, and I'm in the UK. I honestly think she's living in La La Land. So guys, I'd love to know what you think in comments down below. And as always, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you've yet to do it. I'm well on my way to 50,000 subs. Guys, I really want to make it happen before the end of the year. So hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and share the video on your social media if you can. Guys, thanks so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.